We've been talking all morning about gay marriage. Yesterday, though, was the Obamacare case. And with that out of the way, the great health care consolidation of 2015 can officially begin or continue. And it might continue this weekend. Aetna is on the verge of a deal to buy rival Humana. And that could set off a wave of deal-making. Bloomberg's Drew Armstrong covers the industry for us. So, Drew, what should we be keeping our eyes on?
Well, it's really interesting what's happening now. We've been, as you know well, in this period of all these drug companies buying each other, right? But one thing that's been really quiet has been the insurance industry and the hospital industry. Then all of a sudden, in the last few weeks, we've seen every single one of the big five in the insurance industry looking at, it seems like, buying every single else in the big five. We're probably going to go from a big five down to a big three.
Okay.
We've had this thing with Humana floating out there. We think that Cigna's probably in play in one way or another. Yeah.
All right, well, here we go. Let's take a look at this, because you've got it United, right? So the United is the big one.
Yeah, they're the giant.
And they're going to remain one of the three no matter what happens.
Yeah.
What about Anthem? Because they want to buy.
Anthem is on the prowl. They've been looking at Cigna.
Right.
Cigna doesn't want to get bought.
Okay.
Now we've heard something about Aetna and Humana. There's a possibility that Humana could maybe go and play to somebody else. Maybe Cigna now looks for someone they don't want to get bought by Anthem. Do they look at Aetna? Do they talk to Humana about combining together in some sort of merger of equals? I mean, everybody here right now is in play.
All right, well, everyone is in play. This has got to be good news for the investment bankers in the banking industry. If you're going to try to bring five down to three, that means a lot of fees.
A lot of folks are probably going to make a lot of money on these deals.
Are there characteristics that tell you that one is going to be a takeover candidate versus another?
Well, the health insurance industry is actually really fascinating. We look at these huge companies, but in fact, they're really regional businesses. Most of the time, they may only be in, a dozen or 24 states. So you're not necessarily buying for synergy or anything like that, as much as you're buying to be in different markets that you're not in already.
You want to get bigger. You want scale.
And right now, with these Obamacare subsidies protected by the court yesterday, that means that those millions of new customers are going to continue to come in and buy coverage with financial help from the government. You want to be in those markets where they're out shopping and capture those new customers.
So who's got the best profile in terms of Medicare payments? Let's just start there.
Humana has a lot of Medicare Advantage business. That's one of the reasons that they are, they're very popular for that reason. It's a fast-growing program. You've got more Americans who are turning 65. They're entering the Medicare program. Medicare Advantage is the private sector version. The government pays insurers to essentially run a private version of Medicare. A lot of growth there. It's one of those big demographic trends that's really helping the industry.
All right. Now, if these deals do indeed go through, I'm assuming that they get some kind of Federal Trade Commission, some kind of anti-monopoly consideration.
One of the things that we've been hearing from folks is that the first deal to go through is probably going to be easy. Second deal may not be quite so easy, so it's a rush to see who can be the first one here. You don't want to have the FTC breathing down your neck after they look at the first deal and say, oh, man, well, now we've got 4 of these. Do we really want to just go to 3? You want to get it done and get it done fast.
Reminds me a little of what goes on in the telecom industry, or indeed the mobile phone industry. Who are the big players when it comes to the advisors or the personalities involved in all this?
There's so many of the companies that are involved here. We pretty much have most of the major banks. I think we have all the big advisory firms on the communications side. Everybody's paired up with somebody else. Everybody is getting mixed up in this right now, as busy as we are.
Is there any fight between the potential acquirer and the acquiree in terms of who would then run the company that is put together?
This Anthem and Cigna letter exchange we had over last weekend is delightful and interesting. Both CEOs seem to want to be in charge. We've had, Anthem CEO said, hey, I'll step down after 2 years. You'll be in this great position. The other guy was basically, I want you to guarantee me the job. And nobody seems to. That seems to be the big sticking point here, is over who's going to actually run this company if they do a deal, less so than price.
Who wants to be the top dog? Everybody, right?
Everybody wants to run a company.
Well done. All right, you're going to keep us up to date on this. Thanks very much. Bloomberg's Drew Armstrong.